guys, it's Charlene. Today we are going to make a card with these adorable stamps and coordinating dies. This is the UR Quacktastic Stamp and Dies. They are illustrated by Yuzu Nook. You have all of those sweet ducks there, and then you can see down at the bottom you have them going in the reverse, which is really nice. You've got a pond and all kinds of cute punny sayings that you can use. There's some inspiration on the back for ideas for coloring. So let's go ahead and start by stamping some of these out. Now the top stamps are individual with individual dies, and then the bottom large stamp is one stamp. So it's nice that you have these two options with this set. I'll start by stamping out the large set and then a few of the individual scene building stamps. And I'm stamping this with some black hybrid ink. I use this ink quite a bit because it's super versatile. It works for both alcohol-based mediums as well as water-based mediums. We're going to be coloring with my Olo markers today. So we'll go ahead and flip that and press down, making sure to get a nice impression. And I do tend to stamp 2 and sometimes even 3 times just so I can get a really nice solid black line when I'm stamping. Be sure you get some even pressure when you are pushing down on your stamps, but you don't want to push too hard. Now for the ducks down here, I've got Y2.3, Y1.2, and Y1.1. I'm starting here with the 2.3, and I'm going to put that in any areas where I feel like there would be shading, so like along the bottom of the duck, and then I will also put it around any items that need to look like they are in front of something else, so around the wing, things like that. Once I get my 2.3 down, I'll bring in the 1.2 and I'm going to run it just along the edge of that 2.3. Not all the way over it, just along the edge. And I can bring this 1.2 out as far as I want. Whatever I leave remaining is going to be the highlight area. So here I'm coming in with my 1.1, which is the lightest color, and I'm coloring in those remaining spots. In real life, the mama duck would actually be white and the baby ducks would be yellow, but this is my card and my coloring, and that's the wonderful thing about creating things is you can color whatever color you'd like. So I repeated that a full second time. You can see how it really nicely built up the color. And then I did the same exact thing for all of my remaining little ducklings there. For the duck bills, I'm bringing in some oranges. I have O1.2 and O1.3. It's a pretty small space, so I'm just working with the 2 colors, adding the darker towards the bottom of those bills. Did the same thing for all of them, and I'm going to do the same thing for all of their feet. I'm using O2.2 and O2.4, so I get a slightly different kind of blend of oranges. You could do them the same for the feet and the bill, but I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of a difference between those two. I repeated that process on all of the ducks. Now for their cute little clothing items as well as the rest of the scene building items, I'm going to be using some red, white, and blue as well as green. So for my blues, I've got B, 0.3, 0.5, and 0.6, and I'm going to start by adding some shading on the neck covering that our little duck has there, and then I will blend it out with the 0.5, bringing that just slightly over the 0.6 but not too far, and leaving a really small area for my highlight, which is where I will come in with the 0.3. Now I felt like there was enough room in this little spot here to do 3 colors, but on a lot of these other areas I'm just going to stick with 2 colors. Once you get into those teeny tiny areas, it is just too hard to try and get your marker in there. So you can see on the hat there and on his little life preserver, I went ahead and finished my coloring off camera. I wanted to show you what colors I used though and talk about them. For my reds, I used R.4, 0.5, and 0.6. For the rocks, some neutral grays. I pulled out my Copics and used an N2 and N4. For the lake, I used those same blues that I did everywhere down on the ducks. And then for my greens, I brought in my yellow greens, which I love and use all the time for greenery. I used a YG 1.2, 1.4 and 1.6, and I did those in different areas. For the clouds here, I used some B.2, which is a really nice light blue. You can see I just did a little along the base, and then kind of in the areas where the clouds look puffy, I brought down little lines. For the cattails, I used some O2.7, a nice deep orange brown. I've got some low tack tape here, put all of my dies down. I'll cut these all out and you can see, oh, they look so cute when they're cut out, but I'm going to set that aside because we need to build out our background for our little duck family. I have here the scene building A2 tall grass, and I'm going to cut it here from a piece of green cardstock. Now you'll see later I don't actually end up using this, but I wanted to keep this in here because I wanted to show you this nice die. You can use it for landscape or portrait style cards, whichever works for you. There, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put my horizon line for some ink blending. I'm bringing in Post-it tape. I use this tape so much when it comes to masking off areas. If I want to ink blend, it's also great for masking off areas on a stencil. Bringing in two different shades of green here. I've got aloe vera and matcha tea. And I have two shades because I want my card to look a little darker at the bottom, a little bit lighter at the top, where my grass is going to go. So I'll start here with the matcha tea and get some on my blending brush and bring it up from the bottom. Once I have a decent amount on there, I'll bring it in from the sides as well. I don't want to just focus on bringing it in from the bottom. And then I can bring in the lighter shade of the aloe vera along the top, coming in from the side and bringing it down over that matcha tea so we get a really nice blend. Once I'm happy with the amount of color, I'll pull off the masking tape. Love that part. There's our nice pretty horizon line. Now I'm going to clip apart these little ducks. I decided that I want to keep some in a row and some of them I want to put in the scene. And this is actually quite nice because you can easily cut them apart with detail scissors, but your die cutting process is so much easier because you just have the one big die that cuts them all out. So I like the flexibility with that. Really fun. So these little scissors here that I have are so nice for that kind of thing because they have those really tiny, fine points. So you can see I didn't use one of my other little background items. I laid everything out, and right about here is where I realized that I need a blue sky, not a white sky. So I'm going to take a picture for myself. This is a great way to help you remember how you sort of were feeling like a card should be laid out and not forgetting it. So I'll bring in that same exact piece of masking tape, the Post-it tape that I used before, because you can use it more than once, which is really nice. And I will mask over the green, leaving just the tiniest little bit of the green showing so that I don't get a white line in between the two. And bringing in a very light blue, which is iceberg. This is a gorgeous color. I'll bring it up from the bottom, go in from around the edges, and then I went all over. And I did leave the center a little lighter than the edges because I feel like that helps draw your eye into the action of the card. I used one of our A2 rectangles to cut this out. Now I'll add some glue all the way along the back using a nice thin liquid glue here so I don't get any bumps or raised areas back behind there. And I am gluing this right to my card base. Now you could glue it to another A2 size card panel in white, but I thought, why do that? I might as well just glue it to the card base. So I've got some foam tape back behind there. It's a low loft, and I'm just removing my release tape, and I'm going to put all these pieces down where I have them lined up on the card front, and you can see what a difference that dimension makes. It just really helps things pop off the card. And with the low loft foam tape, I can still fit this in a regular A2 sized envelope and mail it off. So that's really nice. Now I have some glue here. I'm going to glue our little ducky right onto the pond because I don't want there to be too much dimension on here. And you'll see I'm going to do the same exact thing with the cattails here. I'm going to glue them directly to the rocks. So that way I'm keeping everything kind of just one level of foam tape, not too much. Now I wanted to make sure and keep a spot for my sentiment, which I haven't stamped out yet. So I just used the actual stamp to keep a spot there held for me so I knew where it was going to go once I stamped it out. I am seasoning my stamp there just by running my finger over it. Makes it easier for the stamp to take ink. Bringing in that black hybrid ink again, and I will stamp this out, not pushing too hard. Bring in a second stamping here again to build up that nice black color. I don't want a gray stamping, right? You know, I want a black stamping. So I find the double or even triple stamp really helps with that. Gotta love our stamp platforms, right? Best invention ever. I'm going to stamp the inside of my card, which I don't do very often, but I really wanted to have this card around as a birthday card. And I know that I'm kind of lazy, and if I don't stamp the card now, I'll probably never stamp the inside of the card. And when I send it off, it will just have my writing in it. And I'm not the most prolific of writers on the insides of cards, so I really prefer having a few little things on the inside because it means I have to write less. I don't know if you're like me or not, but I know some people could write a whole story, a novel on the inside of the card. That is not me. So I added 2 of the cute little duckies. I'm not going to color them. I'm just stamping them in there on each side of the sentiment. Adds a fun little touch. Here's our finished card. Look how cute that is. I absolutely love those little duckies. Such a fun birthday card. All right, guys, I hope that you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that you'll know about future videos here on the Picket Studios YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.